As the late, great Prince Rogers Nelson once belted out, all hail the new king in town.
Yep.
It's May Day in Foxborough. Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Also, and hopefully your first listen each and every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is not only a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but we are also free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button, download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. Reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. Also, please be sure to follow Locked On Patriots on X at LO_Patriots. And today's episode, folks, is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions apply. And Pats fans, it is the day we've all been waiting for. Yeah, it's the day after day one of the NFL draft. Yes, the New England Patriots have a new quarterback in UNC's Drake Maye, but it's the day that we've all been waiting for here on Locked On Patriots, the return of our good friend, the legendary Thomas Murphy. Don Murph, I appreciate you coming to me in friendship today, especially in this post-draft episode of Locked On Patriots. Welcome back, oh great one.
Thank you, my friend. It's good to be back, folks. You were all missed a great deal. My weeks weren't nearly as fulfilled without being able to be here with Mike and all of you.
Absolutely. We missed you, my friend. We definitely did. And what better day to welcome him back than the day that we've all been waiting for. The New England Patriots, Murph, stick and pick at number 3. The Patriots select UNC quarterback Drake Maye as their new franchise quarterback. And I put the question to you. Did the New England Patriots make the right move at number 3? Are you ready to love the Drake?
I'm ready to love the Drake. I'm dancing around the maypole. It was a good pick. It was the right pick to make since they could not get a bag big enough to move down. And I'm glad they didn't move down, considering where the other quarterbacks in this draft went. You know, when we're talking about JJ McCarthy, when we're talking about some of the other guys, it was mind-boggling to watch these quarterbacks come off the boards where they did when they were being talked about at the beginning of the college season as late second, third round picks, and they were going this high. It was really an insane style of a draft, which we should be getting much more accustomed to. I'm happy with what they were able to do. I applaud it, and yeah, let's let the Drake Maye day begin. I'm sorry, it's been 5 hours that I've been talking, folks.
Folks, it is understandable. And yeah, I think bottom line, you hit the nail right on the head. Drake obviously is going to be introduced to the Boston media on Friday. Right. But one of the things that struck me is we had the opportunity to speak with Drake after the pick was made via video conference from Detroit. Drake right off the bat struck me as someone that understands the gravitas that comes with being the quarterback of the New England Patriots. One of the first questions that he was asked is, how do you feel about stepping into Tom Brady's shoes? And he immediately came back and said, Tom is the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not Tom Brady. I'm never going to be Tom Brady.
Right.
I think right off the bat, that set the tone. He let everyone know he's going to be Drake Maye. And I think that's so important for a new quarterback coming in. Look, the Patriots had every opportunity to move down, and they didn't. All kinds of reports out there that The Giants made a full court press. The
Yep.
Vikings made a full court press. Right up until Roger Goodell walked to the podium, they were considered open for business and were taking calls. But they stood steadfast. They realized that that number 3 pick was the crown jewel of this NFL draft cycle.
Yep.
I think the most valuable piece of draft capital heading into day 1 on Thursday night. They realized what they had, and they knew that by trading it away, they needed to be overwhelmed by
Right.
an offer. And I don't think anyone had an overwhelming offer like that
Nope.
in their arsenal. When you're at number 3, you have a big need. You need to go with the biggest need, and they did go quarterback at that level. And I think they got the right guy. I said earlier to the Locked On Podcast Network in my initial reaction to the pick that I believe that Drake has the highest ceiling out of any quarterback in this draft. That's not to say that he's as pro-ready as guys like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I see a lot of potential. I think the Patriots saw that, and I think that's why they stayed at number 3 with him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, the bags were offered; they just weren't big enough. You would need to be overwhelmed. You would need to be blown away. You would need to be hit by hurricane force winds to pry this pick away from them, and nobody was able to do that. Nobody was willing to do that. Now, whether you want to read into that Drake Maye isn't, worthy of that or not, but the Patriots certainly the Patriots certainly looked at what they were offered and said, no, this is the kid that we want,
Yeah.
and he's here, and we're going to take him.
Absolutely. And again, I think for the reasons that we've talked about previously on the field, and we're going to get to those in a minute,
Yep.
folks, because ultimately Drake Maye is here because of his skill set and his abilities at quarterback. But intangibles are so important when it comes to being successful at this level. Maturity and the ability to handle being a quarterback in the NFL. Elliot Wolf talked about this last month at the NFL Combine and at the NFL annual owners meetings. He talked about getting someone in here that can handle being quarterback of the New England Patriots. Again, I'm not going to cast aspersions on Mac Jones. I'm not going to say he wasn't ready, but there were a lot of circumstances that prevented Mac from reaching his full potential. Right now, the maturity level that we see from Drake Maye seems to be at a level that it should be. And I don't think that's something that is being put on. I think that's something he always had, even at UNC. You heard a lot of his teammates, former coaches, people that have been around him for a number of years say that even in Chapel Hill, where the media can be a little bit like a major market. I mean, let's face it, North Carolina is a big time school. They have major media down there trying to get him to either throw his teammates under the bus or blame coaching for some of the problems and some of the difficulties he had on the field.
And he could have easily done that.
And he never took the bait.
Never did.
That, to me, is a maturity that is wisdom beyond his years.
Right.
And I think that's going to serve him very well up here. We all know the pitfalls of a major media market.
Yep.
We contribute to it at times. But at the same time, you need someone that can handle that. And that's understanding of the job that we do and also understanding of the intrinsic value of earning the respect and the trust of your teammates. That, to me, is also something that marks very nicely next to Drake Maye's name in the positive direction.
I agree. I agree with it wholeheartedly. The toughness is more than just being able to pop back up from taking a hit on the field, which Gerard Mayo said that he witnessed from Drake and immediately knew that this kid's tough. He's gonna. I like this kid. It can also be facing down the press and these kinds of questions, being the man that takes the onus and the blame upon himself and does not spread it around as easily as he could have down there. I've said on many an occasion that I have issues with Drake Maye. I do. I have issues with every quarterback that was taken in this draft. But a lot of the issues can be cleaned up with coaching, and he's going to get much better coaching up here in New England than he had in North Carolina. I thought it was a very simplistic offense that he ran down there. It was basically 2 steps up from the wing T, which I ran in high school. And but if you give him the time and you're patient and you do not just throw him to the lions, I think this kid is good enough, smart enough, and has the tools to be able to do everything. I've said it before. This kid has the tools. They're just not in the right order in the box.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to rearrange that toolbox and get this kid off on the right foot. And I think the Patriots will do that. And I think they're going to be able to do that with Jacoby Brissett, you know, set to take snaps at the beginning of next year and mentor this young man. I can't think of a better mentor right now than Jacoby for this kid.
Yeah, absolutely great point. Gerard Mayo made that point tonight. So did Elliot Wolf. And they've been making this for quite some time. And it looks like that Alex Van Pelt knew about this as well during the top 30 visit. It looks like these two guys worked on forging a potentially good working relationship. Already started watching film together. And it's looking like the Patriots already have the seedlings for Drake to embrace his development moving forward.
Yeah.
In just a moment, folks, we're going to talk about that development and what Drake Maye, the quarterback, is going to contribute to the New England Patriots in year one and beyond. Murph and I are going to continue to talk about the big day in New England when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode of your favorite Locked On podcast is brought to you by the best meal kit service in the game, Home Chef. No more having to answer the dreaded question, what are we going to do for dinner tonight? Thanks to Home Chef and their chef-designed recipes that are delivered directly to my door, all pre-packaged, pre-portioned. They even peel the garlic cloves for you. And each recipe, one of my favorites, Black and Mahi, comes with a full page of easy-to-read instructions that include customization options and pictures to guide you along the way through the step-by-step process so you don't have to ask, is that what chard looks like? I cannot recommend Home Chef enough, especially right now, because for a limited time, Home Chef is giving Locked On listeners 18 free meals, free dessert for life, and of course, free shipping on your first box if you head to homechef.com/lockedon today. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Yes, you heard that right. Homechef.com/lockedon. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
Locked On listeners, when you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team to help you do it faster. Here's the best part, folks. They help you do it for free because LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. And on LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. It is the aftermath of the New England Patriots' number 3 overall selection. And once again, University of North Carolina quarterback Drake Maye will be making his home in Foxborough this year. He is the New England Patriots' new quarterback of the future. And joining me here today to break it all down is my good friend, the legend himself, a man that we are thrilled to welcome back to the airwaves here on Locked On Patriots, Thomas Murphy. And Murph, in the previous segment, we talked about the selection of Drake Maye, his maturity, the ability for him to be quarterback of the New England Patriots, the intangibles that the coaching staff likely saw in him that made him worthy of that number 3 overall pick. But you and I both know his legacy is going to be ultimately determined by what he does on the field. And this guy has a hell of a resume. In his final season as a Tar Heel, 63% of his passes completed, 3,608 yards, 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He also ran for 9 touchdowns. In his 26 total games for North Carolina, We're going to get to that in a moment because that's not a huge sample size, but he completed
Right.
611 passes, 64.9%, 7,929 yards, 62 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Also rushed for 1,147 yards on the ground, found the end zone 16 times with his legs. Murph, there's no question about it. This kid has elite arm strength, some of the
Yep.
best we've seen in quite some time. Great velocity, soft touch on the ball, allows him to make any throw on the field, anywhere you need it. He can layer the ball and get the ball where it needs to be. He's also a great navigator of the field. That's something I don't know if he gets enough credit for. He has the ability to see the field well and pick his targets. I also like the fact that he has the athleticism to make things happen when the play breaks down a little bit. He's got the agility, he's got great instincts. He can turn those off script options into big gains. But there are issues. There are issues. You've mentioned a couple of them heading into this segment. Consistency right off the bat. Level of competition, another one. And I think perhaps the biggest one is his ability to handle pressure. When you look at Drake Maye and you look at the balance sheet, because there's always a balance sheet with quarterbacks, pros and cons.
Yep.
I think we're in agreement that there are more pros in terms of potential than there are cons. But what's going to keep you up at night about Drake Maye unless it's coached out of him?
What I hope that can be coached out of him is his footwork. We've talked, many, many times about this, and it can be fixed with proper coaching. And I've said before that he hasn't always gotten the best coaching down there at North Carolina.
Hmm.
The, the what I hope, what I'm worried most about is his decision making. Okay, he takes too many sacks. He doesn't get rid of the ball often enough when he's under pressure. And I think, you just talked about that. And I think that's something that he's going to have to learn to survive, even with his body type at the next level.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And you know who else agrees with you?
Who?
Someone who knows a thing or two about football.
Oh,
Bill Belichick.
oh,
Bill
okay.
Belichick was the guest on the Pat McAfee podcast earlier, and we were all
Okay.
waiting for this. We were all waiting for Bill to evaluate the pick of
Okay.
Drake Maye to the New England Patriots. And essentially, I mean, Bill had a lot of great things to say about Drake's ceiling, a lot about his
Yep.
potential. Said he's an electric playmaker. He's a guy that can make things happen. He makes the eye-opening plays, but consistency is what is going to make you
Right.
an NFL quarterback.
Is he going to take that check down?
Exactly.
Is he going to do the little things that take you from floor to ceiling? I like I said, we've said before, I'm not sure that his floor is as high as some of the other guys in this draft, but a lot of the other guys are much older, have played much more football. This kid does not check all of the Bill Parcells criteria for a quarterback, and how many starts you make, and how many completions you have, and so on and so forth. Belichick is right. It's the little things that he needs to clean up that need to be coached out of him that we were just talking about.
Yeah. And again, we've talked about this before. That daredevil style of play is exciting to watch
Sure.
because when it works, it's great. There's nothing better.
Mhm.
There's the gunslinger. There's the risk taker. He's going to push the envelope. He's going to take it to the limit, and he's going to give you that ability to win. It does when it works, but when it doesn't, it's a problem. It can lead to costly mistakes. Now, I think what Drake needs most of all is a coaching staff and a mentorship that's going to help to coach a little bit of that excess gunslinger out of
Yep.
him. And you mentioned this before. Having Jacoby Brissett in the room is huge. This is a guy that's been everywhere, done everything, played with the best. That's invaluable insight that only Jacoby Brissett can provide. And I believe that he's the perfect person to be able to mentor him right now. Drake said all the right things when we spoke to him on Thursday night. We asked him very bluntly about Jacoby Brissett, and he said, that's a guy I can't wait to work with. It's a guy I can't wait to learn from. And if it means that I have to take, a back seat or I have to sit behind him for a few games, for a year, whatever it be, he sounds open to the possibility. Now, you and I both know that could change when training camp comes in,
Right.
but bottom line, he's saying the right things right now. And I think in order for the Patriots to move forward solidly with this pick, I think that's going to be something the coaching staff is going to have to develop as well, that working relationship. Alex Van Pelt's already done a great job of that. It sounds like when they came up for the top 30 visit, he already had him going through film of outside zone. He likes to do in terms of moving the ball around the field.
Yep.
Showed him some Aaron Rodgers clips back in the day in Green Bay. If you're going to run that style, of
Right.
offense, that's a pretty good guy to learn from. Despite of the little double choke,
Yeah.
jokes that Murph likes to drop. There's a lot of respect for that guy's game. There's no question about it. So looks like the Patriots are already putting those steps in place to try to bring the best out of Drake Maye.
Yeah, I agree. They've already shown that they're going to be patient with this kid and realize that he has issues, and there are issues that can be fixed with enough time under center. He just hasn't had that time yet, and he hasn't had the coaching staff that is going to that was going to correct it. He was good enough to do what they needed him to do, and they just let him go out and do it instead of fixing those things while he was in college. And now it's going to be up to the guys up here to be able to do that. But like you said, um, he's able to make plays at every level of the field. He has the arm strength that quite frankly could get him into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking that he can make some of these passes that uh, he just can't yet. Windows close quicker at the NFL level than they do in the ACC. Um, Defensive ends are a little bit faster. Defensive tackles take up a lot more room and push an offensive line back into you. How he handles these kinds of pressures are going to determine whether or not he's a success here. But I like the way the Patriots are going about this and showing their hand that this isn't somebody that is going to be forced into a starting position week one.
Very good point. And that's a point that came up when Gerard Mayo and Elliot Wolf addressed the media very shortly after the pick was made. They said, we're not bringing him in to anoint him as the starting quarterback on day one. Guys are going to compete. There's no question about it. But the fact that he hasn't been anointed the savior from the moment he walks through the door is something that I think will help Drake Maye in the long run.
It's going to be a very Tom Brady-ish type situation.
Yeah,
he's not sitting behind a number one pick, but he's still going to be sitting behind somebody, whether that's Jacoby Brissett or Bailey Zappi. He's not going to be. It's not going to be trial by fire,
right.
And he's going to get the time to learn what he needs to learn to go out there and be successful. And what the Patriots are able to do on day 2 and day 3 are going to have a lot to do with that. I'm sure we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Absolutely, because as always, it's not just about the quarterback, Murph.
No.
You've been talking about this since day one when we first started doing mock drafts and the draft season opened up. Patriots have an awful lot of holes to fill on this roster other than just what was under center. Offensive tackle is still in need, as is receiver. Are the Patriots going to address these matters on day 2 of the NFL draft? Murph and I are going to discuss that and what day 2 may look like when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Patriots fans, as Locked On Patriots everydayers, you know that I tend to be on the mild-mannered side. You might even say overly polite. Well, guess what? I have a competitive side too. We all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also heist their vaults of riches all for myself. And the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in timed tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or on Google Play. That's fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. Hopefully your first listen today and each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Joining me is a man we are thrilled to welcome back, my good friend Thomas Murphy. And Murph, we've been having a blast talking about Drake Maye. We love the Drake. Everybody loves the Drake right now. The Drake is great. That will be my new meme, folks, by the way. I have decided, but we both know that it's not just about Drake Maye in this draft class. The Patriots have needs and they need to fill them. In order for Drake to succeed, they're going to have to surround him and support him with a strong supporting cast. You've been very vocal that supporting cast should include an offensive tackle, and I agree with you. There are a lot of fans out there that believe that he needs to add, that this team also needs to add a top flight wideout, maybe an X receiver that can beat 2-3 coverages down the field and still make the play. When you look at day 2 and you look at the board and you look at who's available, Patriots right now on the clock at 34. We've heard rumblings that they may be looking to trade down and maybe pick up more picks, or maybe they'll stay put at number 34. If you're the general manager of the New England Patriots, what are you doing on day 2 to open it up?
I'm running to the podium and I'm grabbing one of the offensive tackles that I think can still contribute in their rookie season. I'm talking Kingsley Sumatia at a BYU or Patrick Paul in Houston. The cornerstone left tackles right now are gone. What they need to do is beef up and get deeper at this position just to keep this young man healthy and safe over his learning process, his maturation process, as it would, for lack of a better term. They right now, I still don't believe that the Patriots have a starting left tackle on this roster. So I think it's the most glaring need. Now, a lot of folks are going to be out there and say that, well, you promised us weapons. We're gonna weaponize things. Well, you can't utilize weapons if you don't have that foundation. And the Patriots are going to have to do that early on day 2.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I think the easy thing to think right now is that the Patriots could trade this pick and maximize their return on investment. The way the board has gone and the way this draft is shaping up, it's telling us that maybe everything that we thought we knew coming into the draft is not really a far gone conclusion. You look at the Bills now, and you also look at the position they put themselves in now to open day 2. Number 33, they'll open the day. They have a full day to work the phone lines and try to get a T. Higgins, try to get one of the San Francisco receivers, either Brandon Ayuk or possibly Deebo Samuel. If that doesn't work out, they submit their draft card for A.D. Mitchell. So now they've got the type of receiver that they want for Josh Allen. Giving the Chiefs a free pass at Xavier Worthy is not something I'm willing to let them off the hook for. But bottom line, they position themselves to try to get their biggest position of need. To me, the Patriots' biggest position of need right now is offensive tackle. And if they trade down, I don't think that guys like Kingsley Sumatia are going to be there. Patrick Paul may not be there. You run the risk of guys like Rosengarten maybe being off, Roger Rosengarten of Washington being off the board. You're going to run the risk of losing one of these guys. And every single one of them, I think, are NFL-ready tackle prospects. I think you need to get one, especially with a quarterback like Drake Maye.
I agree. And it might come down to, if they do trade back, they end up taking a Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame, which would still be a very good pick. Now, Fisher played right tackle at Notre Dame, of course, because, he was across from Joe Alt. But he did start out his college career as a left tackle before Alt became Joe Alton, and he entered the situation. So there are other options if he does decide, if they do decide to move down. I'm sorry, and there are still fine wide receivers that the Patriots could pick up later in the second round or even in the third. Devontae Walker is still out there. He's got a
Right.
nice little relationship with Drake.
Mhm.
Jalen Polk is still out there. Jalen McMillan out of Washington.
Mhm.
We could grab a guy like Troy Franklin out of Oregon. There are other options
Mhm.
further down in the second round that the Patriots could go after. But what they need to do with that pick is solidify this offensive. I don't. You wouldn't even call it solidify. Just make that pool a tad bit deeper.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually like the suggestion on Fisher. And the reason
Yeah.
being is that I've talked about this a couple of times over the last couple of weeks. Scott Peters, during the Notre Dame Pro Day, worked very closely with Blake. And I
Hmm.
think one of the reasons why they brought him in for a top 30 visit is because he really examined his versatility and really worked with him closely to find out if he did have the versatility over to the left side. And I believe he does. Clearly has the size for it. You don't really fill the shoes of Trent Brown, but this kid can almost
Right.
do it. And if that is someone that they're going to bring in, I would love to see Fisher come in here. But ultimately, if you can stick and stay to really get, I think, a future left tackle that can be your cornerstone. Sumataye is a guy I
Right.
really love an awful lot. But you're absolutely right. There are very talented players in both positional depth charts right now. So ultimately, if you're the Patriots, folks, Murph is absolutely right. You want to maximize your return on investment. Does
Yep.
that mean getting NFL ready prospects at 34 and 68? Or does that mean packaging those picks to try to get more, maybe more picks on day two, or maximize what you can get out of day three? This draft class is deep in certain cases. Maybe they do get some of these
Yep.
guys off the board on day three and snag some diamonds in the rough, Murph.
Exactly. And I think Matea can also play both right or left tackle, and that's
He
something
can.
that's not to be sneezed at.
Mm,
If you come in here and you grab one of these guys at the top of the second round, and you come away with a swing tackle that is going to end up being a starter in year 2 or year 3, then I think it's a solid double, if not a triple.
absolutely. And folks, we'll find out whether or not the Patriots have their triple bat out or if it's still going to remain in the on deck circle when they go to select at number 34. Will they make the pick, which, by the way, is going to be made by Detroit native Michael Wainu? He'll be
Hmm.
in town to make that pick and announce that pick, folks. So definitely keep a close eye and a sharp eye on that. Or will the Pats trade down and maximize their return on investment? Folks, those are the questions that will be answered on day two of the NFL draft. And in the meantime, we're going to continue to bring you up to the minute. We're going to continue to bring you up to the minute updates on all of the New England Patriots picks right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So make sure to smash that subscribe button on YouTube and download and follow wherever you get your podcasts. Over the course of the next couple of days, you will not want to miss a single second of the action. But what can I say? We are thrilled to have Murph back in the fold here. You always bring the wisdom and counsel the way only you can. Before I let you go, my friend, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, where they can interact with you, and what you got cooking in Murph's kitchen over the weekend.
Yeah, you can just reach out to me on Zitter at tmurph207 and see what I've got going on there. I'll have a write up for this draft when it's completed, and don't let it out that you know the Patriots could always throw us a curveball and get that safety that I've wanted. Cooper DeJean is still out there, and he could, he's a guy that can play in the slot, outside, or
Mm,
deep center field, and that he's if Belichick was here, that would be the pick right now. I'm telling
it's
you
still a
right now,
need. It's
it's
still a
still a
need.
need.
As much as I
It's
love
still a
Kyle
need.
Duggar and Jabril Peppers, you
I
need
can't
a.
believe that he's still on the board. I
Yeah,
can't.
I'm
All
surprised
these
as well.
quarterback reaches in the first round just boggled my mind, and
Mm,
that means that this kind of talent slides down. Now, granted, I'm still saying that take the offensive tackle first, but you never know what's going to happen when that kind of talent is still out there.
Absolutely. And depending on who is on the Patriots big board, folks, if they feel that turning that one pick into 2 or 3 can help set this team up for a better draft haul, Elliott Wolf definitely is not afraid to make that move. Gerard Mayo doesn't seem like he's afraid to make that move. Perhaps that's the ticket for your New England Patriots. We'll find out soon enough. And definitely stay locked into Locked On Patriots for up-to-the-minute analysis on every pick the New England Patriots make. Folks, you will not want to miss the rest of the weekend, so be sure to stay locked in. But in the meantime, I remind you to stay safe and to stay well and to be the change you wish to see in the world. I'm Mike Debate, and on behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy day 2 and day 3 of the NFL Draft. Keep it here for all of your draft needs, and we'll see you back here again next time on Locked On Patriots.